Yeah, talk about finding it tough on the pitch. Imagine when you see who can come off that Belgian bench, and it is Kevin De Bruyne, Kasey.
Well, it made the difference. I mean, when Christian and I were talking, during the match, just that the difference in quality in certain positions, and in the pregame, we mentioned that they didn't have technically three of their starting midfield starting in this match. That they know that they came through different phases of injuries and coming back. De Bruyne is able to come back into the match, make the difference. I would argue that if you give Denmark a world-class striker, this outcome might have been different. And so Roberto Martinez is going to go back and say, you know what? We got a little bit lucky. We had the quality to come off the bench that made the difference. But Denmark deserved more than a loss today.
Yeah, and Hjulmand can be very proud of his side.
Absolutely. I mean, it was the expected game. Denmark's game, carried by the emotions that built up over the last couple of days, tried the very best. And those emotions would not let them stop until the very last second of the game. Even though we're 2-1 down, for me, they were the better side. They created chances, they kept going forward, almost got rewarded with Brathwaite's header against the post. So they kept going. But the answer for Robert Martinez was De Bruyne.
But you and I were talking about that 55th, 60th minute. We thought that maybe the emotion and the adrenaline would weigh. And then because of that, then they got the goals. But how impressive to then step it back up in that final 10, 15 minutes and push so hard for an equalizer. And as you mentioned,
it was good.
It was the width of the crossbar that basically was the difference in them finding an equalizer.
So does that tell you something about Belgium going forward if they're to come up against better opposition?
Not necessarily. I mean, the quality was there. I mean, they have a Lukaku, De Bruyne, Hazard coming off the bench. I mean, I would love to have the luxury, or any team would love to have the luxury of Roberto Martinez to lean back to them and get them as subs.
I think one question has to be the pace of the back three. And if you want to push that many players forward in possession, you lose it. Can those three players cope with the pace of France, let's say, later in the rounds? And that'll be the question mark for this Belgian side.
Yeah, and I suppose concentration as well, because even in this game, we saw mistakes at both ends of the pitch. Both mistakes being punished as well.
Absolutely, but I would say there's so much quality of Belgium moving forward, attacking, that they can win any game, any game they face.
But what's nice sometimes is when you have this little wake-up call early in the tournament. It wasn't just smooth sailing the whole way. They got pushed hard against this Danish side. And so, Roberto can go in, they can look at some tape, they can look at some mistakes, they can look at where they can be better and where they know they need to be better against better sides.
And you say a wake-up call, but it's still nice that it is a wake-up call, but you've still come away.
You can keep that positivity, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to really come down on people. You can say, look, this is better. You fought hard, you got the 3 points, but they know they need to be better if they're going to win this tournament.
Because you are essentially still finding yourself when you're back with the national team in the group stages. This is when you're starting to get your momentum, isn't it, Christian?
Well, and they have the momentum, honestly. I mean, the quality that they showed today and was incredible. Yes, you were probably not the dominant team. For me, all the credit to Denmark again. But those chances that you had, you used them. And the effectiveness was all the way on Belgium's side.
And how important was it to get 45 minutes for De Bruyne?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then go into a match where you've already have 6 points. So now Roberto can kind of move some stuff around, maybe play some people, maybe even start Hazard and see if he's capable of playing more. See what Axel Witsel as well. How much is he going to be after being out for so long with that Achilles injury? So it gives them an opportunity to also...
And not having the pressure in the last game.
Correct.
You can try Axel Witsel. You can give him more game time. Same with Hazard to get them ready for a knockout stage.
Yeah, it's frightening the depth they've got. With Denmark, though, you feel, obviously, with everything they've been through, they still can feel very hard done by from what's happened in these first 2 games, surely.
Absolutely. But at the end, it's a competitive sport. And that's what you have to deal with. It's either win or lose. And listen, all credit to them, and that's why they get the applause from their fans. They left it all out.
Yeah, look at against Finland, they outshot Finland 22-1. Against Belgium, they outshot Belgium 22-6, and then they come away with no points.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.